This video contains part 2 of the essay on the abolition of English department. From part 1 of the essay, we already know oral tradition is the primary root of African literature. In this portion of the essay, Gogi explains that oral tradition is a living tradition. The study of oral tradition must lead to multidisciplinary outlook. In the essay, Gogi says that oral tradition is rich and many sided. Africa is littered with oral tradition. It's a living tradition which is present even today. Everywhere in Africa, you could see oral tradition being performed. He says songs are being sung in political rallies, in churches, in nightclubs by guitarists, by accordion players, by dancers, etc. Gogi points out the interlinked nature of art forms in traditional practice. He says it is worth noting. Verbal forms are not always distinct from dance, music, etc., and tradition. For this, Gogi gives an example. In music, there is close correspondence between verbal and melodic tones. In metrical lyrics, it has been observed that the poetic text is inseparable from tune. Folk tale often bears the operatic form with sung refrain as an integral part. The distinction between prose and poetry is absent or very fluid. So here Gogi says in traditional forms of art, we cannot say that only song is there or only drama is there or only music is there. It is a mixture of all. So you cannot make a clear cut distinction between prose and poetry, dance and music or acting in traditional literature. He says, though tale, dance, song, myth, etc., can be performed for individual aesthetic enjoyment, it appeals to the masses also. It has a social purpose in it. It has the value of giving moral teaching, criticism to the society. Dance, for example, he says, has been studied as symbolic expression of social reality. The oral tradition also comments on society because of its intimate relationship and involvement. An oral tradition can teach people what to do and what not to do, how to behave, and how to be in a society, how to interact with people. All such teachings are given by oral tradition. Then he says when oral tradition is introduced in a university as part of the curriculum, it has several functions to perform. He says the study of oral tradition at the university should therefore lead to multidisciplinary outlook. So, when a student studies oral literature, he will also be studying literature, music, linguistics, sociology, anthropology, history, psychology, religion, and philosophy. Secondly, its study can lead to fresh approaches by making it possible for the student to be familiar with art forms different in kind and historical development from Western literary forms. So it gives an altogether new outlook. Spontaneity and liberty of communication, openness to sound, sight, rhythm, tone, in life and in environment are examples of traditional elements from which the student can draw. And then finally, he says, more specifically, his familiarity with oral literature could suggest new structure and techniques and could foster attitudes of mind characterized by willingness to experiment with new forms. So, transcending fixed literary patterns and what that implies the preconceived ranking of art forms. So, a student who is studying traditional oral literature has new avenues to venture to. He can innovate. There are new kind of opportunities available to such a student which are different from one who is studying Western literature. The study of oral tradition would therefore supplement courses in modern African literature. It will not replace entirely what is taught in modern African literature, but it would add to, it would supplement such a course. By discovering and proclaiming loyalty to indigenous values, the new literature would better appreciate and we would be able to embrace and assimilate other thoughts without losing its roots. So, we could add more value to what is already there by introducing oral tradition. Now, we will see how Googie concludes this essay. He says, in any university, we always are faced with the question that which text should be introduced. One of the things which has been hindering a radical outlook in our study of literature in Africa is a question of literary excellence, that only works of undisputed literary excellence should be offered. We should give the best text to our students. That is the aim which all universities have. But then there is the question of what is literary, what is excellence, and from whose point of view. This question always bothers people in a university. So he says, for any group, it is better to study representative works which mirror their society rather than to study a few isolated classics either from their own or from foreign culture. So, you should select works from all walks of life. It shouldn't be just the isolated classic works from either native or foreign culture. To sum up the essay, he says, we have been trying all along to place values where they belong. We have argued the case for the abolition of the present Department of English in the college and the establishment of African literature and languages. So, what was the main argument of the essay? Department of English should be abolished and Department of African Literature and Languages to be established. Then Googie says it should not be just change of name. We want to establish centrality of Africa. This, we have argued, is justifiable on various grounds. The most important one being that education is a means of knowledge about ourselves. So, the major argument that Googie was making is about education. And why do we need education? that will help us to know ourselves better. Only after we have examined ourselves can we go to others. We radiate outwards and discover people and world around us. So basically we should have a knowledge of ourselves first before going to study anything else. That is why he wants Africa to be at the center. With Africa at the center of things, not existing just as an appendix or satellite of the other countries and literatures, things must be seen from African perspective. The dominant objective in that perspective is African literature, the major branch of African literature. Its roots go back uh, to past African literatures, European literature, and ancient literature. These can only be studied meaningfully in a department of African literature and languages in an African university. So, in this essay, Googie has argued that the Department of African Literature and Language should be at the center, and after studying what is traditional or local, we can go to the other literatures. So, through the perspective of an African, we should look at the other literatures of the world. Thank you.